Welcome to the spine-tingling world of our unholy tales, where fear takes its darkest form and every shadow holds a chilling secret. We are your guides through the twisted and nightmarish tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat, clutching your pillow for dear life. Get ready to embark on a journey into the abyss of your deepest fears as we explore the realms of the supernatural, the macabre, and the unknown. When Matt took the night security job at the old warehouse on the edge of town, he thought it would be an easy way to earn some extra cash. All he had to do was sit in the guard booth and keep an eye on the property from dusk till dawn. There hadn't been a break-in attempt in years. On Matt's first night, he settled into the guard booth with a thermos of coffee, preparing himself for a long, boring shift. As he glanced around the property, he took in the peeling paint, broken windows, and knee-high weeds that had sprung up everywhere. The warehouse had been abandoned for over a decade, left to gradually decay. Other than the faint breeze rattling broken glass and making the weeds whisper, the warehouse was silent as a tomb. The surrounding woods and lack of streetlights gave the area an isolated, forgotten feel. But Matt wasn't bothered by the solitude or the creepy atmosphere. He actually welcomed the peace and quiet. The first couple nights went by uneventfully. Matt alternated between browsing on his phone and doing perimeter checks around the property. He encountered nothing more sinister than raccoons and possums scavenging in the overflowing dumpsters. But on the third night, as Matt sipped stale coffee in the guard booth, he thought he saw movement in his peripheral vision. He sat up straight, peering into the shadowy warehouse interior. All the doors were chained shut from the outside, and there were no signs of forced entry. After a few moments of silence, Matt settled back again, writing it off as his eyes playing tricks. Over the next week, Matt continued to catch brief glimpses of shapes moving in the darkness, always gone when he shined his flashlight. He told himself it was just stray animals slipping through cracks in the walls and boarded-up windows, but he couldn't shake the uneasy prickle on the back of his neck whenever he looked over at the looming warehouse. 10 nights into the job, Matt was doing his usual perimeter check when a scraping noise from inside made him freeze. He stood motionless, listening intently. There it was again, a definite skittering, shuffling sound, like something moving through the abandoned warehouse. Matt crept to the nearest door, peering through a dirty window into the cavernous interior. He could see nothing but hulking shapes shrouded in darkness. Gripping his flashlight tightly, Matt tried the door. The chain securing it rattled loudly in the stillness, but remained firmly attached. The noise from within abruptly ceased, as if startled into silence. Unease gnawing at his gut, Matt quickly finished his perimeter check. But he knew now something was lurking inside the supposedly empty warehouse. He considered calling the property manager, but decided to wait. He didn't want to seem paranoid over a few noises. Over the coming nights, however, the sounds escalated. Matt frequently heard crashes and bangs coming from deep within the warehouse. Heavy scraping suggested large objects being dragged across the concrete floors. Sometimes he even thought he heard footsteps thudding just out of sight. Matt knew now that he wasn't dealing with stray animals. Someone, or something, had gotten inside the warehouse and was skulking through the abandoned property. He decided it was finally time to call for backup, but when he phoned the property manager, he was told not to worry about it. Matt insisted on more security, but his concerns were dismissed. Feeling frustrated and unnerved, he had no choice but to continue the solo night shifts. The activity within the warehouse reached disturbing new levels. Strange, guttural moans reverberated through the walls at all hours. Shadowy shapes darted along the periphery of Matt's vision, disappearing whenever he swung his flashlight beam towards them. But the most chilling incident happened when Matt was standing near a first-floor window. A face suddenly loomed out of the darkness on the other side of the smeared glass, pale and gaunt, with sunken eyes that glowed with an eldritch hunger. Matt leapt back, blinded his flashlight at the window, but it was gone. Matt's nerves were fraying. He decided he had to get inside the warehouse and confront whoever was in there. Gripping a crowbar, he approached the chain doors. The heavy padlocks and rusty chains looked undisturbed. As Matt's flashlight illuminated the door handles, however, he noticed that they were all slicked with a dark, oily substance. Heart pounding, Matt reached out a shaking hand and touched the handle. His fingers came away coated in the thick, foul-smelling ooze. As he shuddered in disgust, a bone-chilling cackle echoed from the other side of the door, inches away. Matt jumped back, gasping out loud. The evil laughter continued as Matt staggered away from the chained doors. He spent the rest of his shift hunched in the guard booth, bathed in cold sweat, waiting for the sun to rise so he could quit once and for all. When Matt's replacement arrived the next morning, he decided to do one final patrol through the warehouse before leaving this nightmarish job forever. Gripping his crowbar tightly, Matt made his way across the weed-choked yard to the main employee entrance. As he approached, he could see that the chains had been removed from the doors, allowing them to stand ajar. Matt stood, frozen, staring at the open doorway yawning ominously before him. He wanted to turn and run, but he had to know what was inside this place. He had to face the sinister being that had haunted his long nights here. Creeping through the door with his crowbar raised, Matt entered the cavernous gloom beyond. The warehouse was a labyrinth of corridors and rooms, filled with the hulks of abandoned machinery and piles of forgotten crates. The deeper Matt explored, the stronger the rotten, organic stench became. Following the smell led him to a large industrial refrigerator unit. Oily black streaks covered the door handle. Bracing himself, Matt pulled the door open. A wave of putrescence billowed out, making Matt gag. Inside the fridge were the remains of mutilated animals, cats, dogs, raccoons, in various states of decomposition. As Matt recoiled from the carnage, a raspy voice spoke from the shadows behind him. "Do you like my collection?" Matt spun, lashing out with the crowbar. The figure dodged easily, retreating into the maze of corridors. Dropping the crowbar, Matt fled for the exit. He didn't stop running until he was safe in his car, peeling out of the warehouse parking lot at breakneck speed. Matt hoped he had escaped for good. But 2 weeks later, he awoke in the middle of the night to a scratching sound at his bedroom window. Pulling back the curtains, Matt recoiled. The ghoulish face from the warehouse window was leering back at him. Stumbling backward, Matt blinked and the face was gone. But when he checked the window again, he found a message scratched into the glass. "I will find you." The next few weeks were a living nightmare. Matt's house was plagued by the same disturbances that haunted the warehouse. Strange noises, ominous messages, and glimpses of a shambling figure lurking in the darkness. No matter where Matt went, the thing from the warehouse followed. He considered going to the police, but who would believe something so crazy? Matt knew there was only one way to end this. He had to go back to the warehouse and face the evil entity on its own turf. He returned there late one night, determined to end this once and for all. As Matt slowly made his way through the familiar, gloomy corridors, he steeled his nerves for a final confrontation. But as he explored deeper into the maze of rooms, he found himself getting lost. The warehouse interior seemed to have transformed, the halls stretching on into infinity. Panic rising, Matt suddenly became aware of a presence looming behind him. He turned to find himself face to face with the ghoulish creature, sunken eyes burning with preternatural hunger, lips peeled back to reveal jagged teeth rotting in desiccated gums. Matt tried to scream, but bony fingers closed around his throat in an iron grip. As an unbearable agony shot through Matt's body, he realized the creature was dissolving his very essence, draining his life force. The ghoulish being threw back its head, exhilarated by the soul it was consuming. Matt's lifeless body crumpled to the concrete, nothing more than an empty shell. The creature melted back into the darkness, sated for now. But soon it would need to feed again.